Hey guys, my name is Matumio, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming or Battlefield-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in a future episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a YouTube message. So the first question comes from Unique Bomber, and it is, what do you think about the lock-on RPGs? I think they should not be lock-on as it is overpowered and there are plenty of weapons to use for those jobs. So I would agree with you. The lock-on RPG, while at first I really like the concept of it because it requires teamwork on the part of the engineer and the recon to get in there and get the job done, as of right now, it's a little bit too overpowered. And with Siege of Shanghai, where there are a lot of buildings where the helicopter can kind of hide behind them, so if they play it correctly, it's not as large of an issue. But when those buildings disappear and we're on larger maps or maps that doesn't have as many elevation changes or buildings to hide behind, the RPG personal laser designator combination will be a little bit ridiculous. And so what I would kind of like to see DICE do is that they eliminate the lock-on capabilities for the RPG and the SMA, but then they keep it in for all of the other different rockets. So it doesn't matter if we're using the Javelin, the new Law, as long as a recon is lighting it up with their portable laser designator, you can take out or lock on to the attack helicopters. And the reason why I want there to be a wide variety of rockets to continue to be able to lock onto those targets as long as they're lased is because one problem that we had back in Battlefield 3 is that there just wasn't enough rockets that could take advantage of the SOFLAM, causing no one to use a SOFLAM because no one was locking onto their targets. And because no one was locking onto their targets, no one was using the Javelin, which could actually use it because no one was running with the SOFLAM. Like, it was a very, very vicious cycle. And so for Battlefield 4, I want there to be that teamwork in between the recon and the engineer, but at the same time, we don't want it to be so overpowered that if there is that combination that they just take out every single helicopter or air vehicle instantaneously. And that's basically what's happening in the Battlefield 4 beta. So we want to continue to have that teamwork aspect of it, but at the same time not making it a death trap when you are in a air vehicle. The next question comes from Arcade Pound, who asks, hey Matimio, don't you think that DICE made the anti-air vehicle way more overpowered in Battlefield 4? Because it has now 4 anti-air missiles, which can now fire off 1 to get the flares off on the heli, and then shoot the other 3 to get it fully down. I actually really like the way that DICE has gone about balancing out the anti-air vehicle because it really fits in with their whole rock, paper, scissors mentality when they are balancing out their vehicles. Like, if you're in an attack helicopter, you're amazing at taking out not only the infantry on the ground for the gunner, but also at taking out boats and also tanks. Like, you are amazing at taking out everything on the ground. But if there wasn't any other vehicle that was great at taking you out, then there isn't the whole rock, paper, scissors anymore. Like, it's just basically nuke, which would be the attack helicopter, and there wouldn't be any balance there. And so you need to have that hard counter in the game, which comes in the form as the anti-air vehicle. And in all honesty, like, that's all it's meant for, is to take out air targets. And if it wasn't good at doing that, or it wasn't very satisfying, or just didn't do it quickly enough, then what would be the point of even getting in that vehicle? So no, I actually like the way that DICE has gone about balancing it. Maybe they'll have to tweak some things here and there, like you don't want it to be just absurd where it can just take things down instantaneously, but at the same time, you want to make it so that it is good at doing the job it's meant to do. The next question comes from viewer HL2Muckle, who asks, do you think that reviving got a little too nerfed? I mean, reviving is important for team play, and it used to be much easier in Battlefield 3. The delay is too high, and the period is too low. I know it sucked when people used to spam revive on Metro, but is grenade launcher spamming really an improvement? So I think DICE has already come out and said that the window to revive someone is going to be extended when the game does release. And that's a good thing, because as of right now, it's way too short. Like, if you want to revive someone to full health, or if you want to charge up your paddles, you need to be almost directly next to them once they die and start the animation as soon as you can, because if you don't, the revive symbol disappears within like 3 seconds. So you're not able to get it off. So I'm glad to see that they are making that change. change, and I think that's a good one. But I also agree with all of the other changes that they've made to the revive mechanic. As you said, in Battlefield 3, it was blatantly overpowered. Being able to revive the 10 guys around you instantaneously, basically bringing them from a near-death experience all the way to full health, was a broken mechanic, and it was really a game changer. And when you're playing on maps like Operation Metro or Grand Bazaar, it almost felt impossible to push up onto an objective or to even make any progress simply because that mechanic was in place. And so for Battlefield 4, what DICE has done to kind of combat this is a couple of things. The first thing being is that the defibrillators themselves have a set amount of charges. I think it's like 3 at any given time. Those charges do regenerate after a period of time, but you're only able to get like 3 people up at one given moment. So if 5 people die around you, you have to choose which allies you're going to bring back up. The other change, which I'm sure many of you have already experienced at this point, is that if someone does a ninja revive off on you, they just kind of shot pal you really fast, you only have 20% health. And so I think with both of these changes in place, it's still going to be a very useful gadget to use. Like, you're still going to want to run around with it when you are playing as the medic, but it's not going to be this blatantly overpowered thing like it was back in Battlefield 3. So I like the direction that DICE has taken. The next question is, do you think that DICE should introduce bonus experience, shared experience, or a squad experience multiplier if a player kills enemies while near his squad members? This should encourage squads to stick together in battle. I wouldn't be completely opposed to having a system like this in place, but you have to remember that DICE already does reward team or squad-based actions. Like, if you give a squad mate health, ammo, if you spot for them, you get rewarded a lot of points for doing so, more so than if it was just another person on your team. So it's like there already is that system in place, and while maybe if there was more points rewarded just for being around the area where an ally does kill someone, it could be maybe the keystone to get more people or randoms to work together as a cohesive squad. I'm just not completely sold that it is going to work exactly the way that you think it will. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe that is exactly what DICE is needing to do for randoms to work more together. But like I said, they already do have a system in place where they are rewarding more points for squad-based action. So I don't know if this is the solution that we need. But that is about it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Once again, if you have a question that you would like me to answer in a future episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a YouTube message. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.